Personally, I have my own sister who is a challenged sister. Ever since she was born, we used to be told she was born with polio. So she had a mental challenge. In her education, she was educated from class 1 to class 8. And we've lived with her. That was the end of our education, up to class 8. And she became part of us at home. And when my parents were working, they took care of her. When they went back on retire to the village, the first attack on my sister was rape. And I'm the firstborn at home. She's a fifth-born. So my mom comes to whisper to me and tells me, I see your sister. Because she was undressing. She didn't even know she was expectant. So what do? We don't know. You know, our traditional homes, dads are very harsh. And the first thing, you'll be quarreled. How could that happen? It must be the mother was careless, isn't it? I told my mom, you know what? That was the first instinct that came to me. So I took her to a doctor, to a boat, to make sure we remove the shame that this is happening. The doctor told me, this pregnancy is too big. We can't remove. She was about 7 months. So when the doctor couldn't do what I wanted, I took her in to my home, took care of her till she delivered her baby boy. Thank God I never did what I wanted to do, because now the son is going to take care of my sister. He's a big man. He drives my mom around. He's the driver at home. He's the man we depend on. Apart from even taking care of the mother, he takes care of my own mother, the grandmother. Alan is a tall guy, handsome, and he's normal. Mentally, he's not as challenged. But when he went to school, he didn't perform very well. But he can do things with his hand. He can drive. You know, ile makazi ya mikono, he can do them. So I think when my sister was growing up, we never knew that she would grow and also be a mother herself. And from the speakers who spoke here, they clearly told us they have a future. And she even talked about the son, who is about 20. In the next 5-10 years, he's going to have a wife. We have to plan ahead for their future and accept their conditions. So I was saying that story because if you don't have, you must be having a relative who is in that space. And even if you don't have a child with autism, I've had cases where parents get a disabled child in the course of their growth. Like an accident happened to the Loreto primary school, remember? Yeah? So the children were very normal. But one day, children got an accident on that bus and they didn't have limbs the following day. And that was the future of those children. And I have that friend who has a child who lost both limbs. But she's very good IT staff with her toes on the computer. So what I've heard you. I've heard your issues. And as government, we do what we can. Currently, the persons that we support as a ministry are 1.3 million. We have put together the persons with disability, the older persons, and the vulnerable children that do not have parents. That 1.3, we pay them the 2,000 shillings. It looks very little, but on government budget, government is training. That 1.3, annually we pay 26 billion. In a month, we pay about 2.2 billion. And that 1.3, we have left out several people that need support. We could be having about 15 million, but we are only taking 1.3 million. And when I came to office, the first thing that I lobbied for was that surely, if we have 1.3 million that we are supporting as government, and we have arrears of 8 months, are we really supporting? If that 2,000 is able to delay for 8 months? And Cabinet and President had me. And that is why they said that money should be paid on a monthly basis before even paying the healthy persons, us who are in offices. Start with them. And the directive that the President gave was that let those persons be paid first before paying the normal people, and pay them on a monthly basis. And that is what this government has done. Number two, when we came to office, we said, if we have several others that we've locked out from the Inua Jamii program, let's have a policy, let's have a bill that we can pass. And that bill is called the Social Assistance Fund Bill, and the Social Protection Bill, and the Disability Bill. If those three are passed, then this space of supporting persons with challenges will become a better future for all the persons that have issues. The Social Assistance Fund Bill that we are talking about will open doors for several donors who are ready to come in, but they just want that bill to be passed. We have the World Bank, they have ready money, but they're telling us, kindly fast track this bill, then we can come in and support the government to supplement the resources from the exchequer. On the disability bill, we'll have an amendment that even the caregivers should be supported. Again, we are on it. We are trying to pass it through Parliament. One that is done. Once it is done, then we can be able to see how we can support the caregivers and those people that need support in this space. But I want to say, the National Council for Persons with Disability have done so much. They only need our support. They also need more funding. The funding that they have is not enough, but we are there to support them. And to touch on unemployment of the persons of disability that you have mentioned, we are going to fast track something that was removed from the performance contracting of ministries. The disability mainstreaming of disability in various ministries. What that speaks to is that every ministry has to show what they are doing for persons with disability, or even their caregivers. And that one was removed. So currently, we cannot measure any ministry on disability mainstreaming. So we want to return it back, hopefully, for the financial year 2024 to 2025. Let it be brought back. Let the Ministry of Defense show us how many persons of disability they have. Let's go to the Ministry of Health. Let them show us how many they have employed. And apart from employment, we want to see whether they have made the pathways for persons with disability. You go to some buildings and she can't use her wheelchair to move around within those buildings. So we are on it. We want to know why it was removed. It should be returned so that we are able to see that disability mainstreaming within ministries happens, so that we have the 5% employment opportunities, we have the 5% access to ACPO or businesses or tenders in government, and people are very unfair. I know they have done companies in the name of disability, and when you look at them, they are normal human beings, isn't it? So that should happen within the national government and the county governments. So if I have not answered any of those other issues, there was something that was mentioned about diapers and pads, where they have said there should be a tax on it. What was given were proposals, but we are there to be able to support. And what we are happy about is that in Parliament, we also have persons with disability. They can't allow that to pass. So I don't see that one passing. There was the issue of capitation for children with disability. I'm told it is only 600 shillings. I'll find out from the Ministry of Education and how they can improve that. You also talked about schools for kids with disability, that they should be provided for your children. This engagement was good. It was an eye-opener, and I listed most of them, and I know my officers who are here that have been able to list them. I also saw the issue of folic acid that needs to be given. I hope the Ministry of Health should be able to do this, only if mothers also go for checks, isn't it? That is where you can be given. I used to remember those days during my time, my generation. Folic acid was a must when you went for maternity checks, isn't it? And going through hospital is important. And I'll tell you, those checks are important. When I gave birth to my last child, who is now 24 years, she's a woman. The doctor told me she had pallet legs. You know what pallet legs are? You give birth to a child, you equal bow-legged. For me, I didn't see it. But because I gave birth in hospital, doctor was able to tell me there was a problem. So at that age, day old, I was given 6 weeks, bring her back, put her on plaster for the next 6 months. My baby used to cry because of the hard plasters on her leg. But now she walks well. That was corrected. So you can imagine if I had not given birth in hospital, would I have known? That child would have, would have been walking like this. But they were straightened with the plasters on the leg. And they became okay. So some of those things, it is also good to important that we go for checkups so that some of those issues can be solved. But I know that for you, there is no mistake that you did. It is a child that God gave you. Accept that child. Bring up that child. I want to give you my utmost support where I can. But also try and do what the speakers have told us. What you can do, please do. If it is raising them, looking for funds for them, investing for them, looking for next of kin, or looking for the trusts to support these children as they grow, you have my support. And let's continue with this group so that if there is anything that we can learn from it, from this meeting, we can use it to help our children. May God bless you all. Thank you.